Okay, YouTubers, this is EMDSD14R, and this is part 3 of the Marklin X995 DC conversion. In this installment, hopefully, it's successful. You will see the X995, which is to the left, get converted to DC, while the Hamo Marklin DC Swedish RC1 gets converted to AC. Now I've already done some pre-teardown stuff. As you can see, the shells are removed, and basically with the light bulb you can actually turn them and then they actually pop out. If I can just get this one to turn. Yep, so that one just pops out. So this is what they look like. And I already tested it to see if it would run without the light bulb being there, because if you look here, let me zoom back in. If you look, come on camera. If you look right here, I'm not sure if this is a grounding point for this wire, but I'm pretty sure it is. And then there's one on this side of the motor as well, right here. Now this is the older style motor for the DC Hammond version. What things will you need? Probably you're definitely going to need electrical solder. You're going to need soldering paste flux. Now basically what this is, you put it on the parts you're going to solder, and it allows the solder to bond more easily to the parts. And then you're definitely going to need your soldering iron. This one has LED lights in it, so you guys will see that when I'm working, which is cool. Definitely probably wear your eye protection. I would recommend doing that so you don't actually get any stuff going into your eye and accidentally make yourself blind. An X-Acto knife if you need it. I just keep it around in case I need it. You'll need a brush. You'll need like a little paint brush to brush the flux on to where you need to solder and whatnot. But other than that, that's pretty much it. So yeah, I might need a drill in case I have to so I might need a drill in the fact that I might have to find new grounding points on this chassis, but I'm not sure just yet. So what I'm going to do first, let me zoom in on here. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to unsolder these components, this wire here from the motor, and I'm going to unsolder this wire here, and then I'm going to retest the model to see if it still runs without those two wires. So basically I'm doing this as a test because this is the first time I'm actually doing this in general. And I'm basically going really slow because I want to, you're welcome, because I want to make sure I get it right. So I'm going to go ahead and unsolder these two wires and see if the model will continue to run without them. If it continues to run without them, then that means they're not really connected to anything important. They're basically just used to power the light. So yeah, so I'm going to do that right now. Okay guys, I'm back and I got my protective eyewear on. So let's see how this first part goes. Oh wait, I'm gonna need these. I'm using my needle nose pliers to hold the wire away so I can unsolder it. There we go. There's one. And another key thing I would recommend, you make sure your room or where you're working at has proper ventilation. Sometimes it's a little, there we go, a little tricky to get them off. Alright, so now that wire's severed. So both wires are severed now. Now I'm going to test to see if this model will still run without them being connected. Let's see. Alright. Okay, so that is a mounting, so that is a point where, alright, so since it's not running, that means that those two wires complete the circuit. Alright, so I'm either going to have to use these plates again or figure out another way to do this. Alright. See, it's simple enough. Okay guys, since I figured that out, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the disassembly. Actually, there's one more wire I need to unsolder. I've just remembered. So there is one wire left that I need to unsolder, and that would be that gray one right there. So that'd be for the pantograph, so I gotta unsolder that one. Let me see. And I have to keep it away because I don't want it to melt anything important that I would use in the conversion later on. I have an idea. Just use my left hand. Not as stable as my right, but it'll be better than nothing. Ooh. Go. Took a little effort to do. Alright, so that one's done. So that gray wire's unsevered now. So basically, I'll probably have to sever these two wires too. But what I'm thinking about doing is I'm thinking about leaving these two intact and just taking my Dremel tool and removing these bases here, taking these bases out. That way I can still mount them without unsoldering that wire. So that's what I'm going to do next. Okay guys, I'm back and I have my Dremel tool here with my special attachment. I forget what it's called. I think it's called a rivet remover. So I'm going to have to remove those rivets in order to take the headlight bracket off. So I'm going to do that right now. Make sure you guys have your eye protective wear on. Let's see. You zoom in on this so you guys can see what I'm doing. Basically, this should pop free. If not, I gotta go back in here more thoroughly. So let's see if I can get this to pop out. There we go. There we go. So, first one is out. As you can see, first one is out. So now I got to do the back one, and then I'll get that done. Okay guys, I got the second one removed. So that's done. Pretty much basically this and the motor can be taken out in one piece, and then I can drop the rear truck out, and then that should be easy to do. Let me see if I can do that right now. Let's see. So yeah, to remove the front truck, you have to remove this central screw here. Right there. Let me see if I can illuminate that for you. So that screw right there, you have to remove that. And then that plate drops out, and then you should be able to get the motor and assembly out. So I'll do that right now. And I remember watching a video about how to do this. This plate comes out, and there's two tabs that hold the side frames on. So that comes out. The plate drops, and then next I can do this. So take this part out, because this is going to be transferred to the other one anyway. So take this out. So basically where this capacitor board is, that's where the DCC ready board's gonna go. But for now, I'm just gonna do a transplant, moving everything over to the X995. And then there's one screw that holds the pantograph plate on, which is that one right there. So I'm going to take this off. That slides out, as you can see. Alright. You zoom back. So, turn this over here. Oh, before you can take the truck off, you have to remove another screw here, which is for the coupler. So you have to unscrew that, and then the truck just should drop out. So that falls out. And then you zoom out. And then the whole assembly pops out like so. Let me get some light on this. So basically, there is your power truck. And then there is your pantograph bracket, your capacitor, and your rear light bracket, and then your front light bracket is up here. Now we got to do the rear truck. And let's see how that goes, because I never took the rear truck off before, but it should be pretty straightforward. So this comes out. Another screw back here. And then there's another screw here holding this truck on. Try to keep all your components together so that you don't lose them. I'm trying to do this on camera so you guys can see. So this top plate comes off, and then the rear truck is a little bit complex too. Look at that. Then there's a back plate here. I'll use these screws here, this small screwdriver, to pop this rear truck off. There you go. Pop that out. And from what it looks like, okay, I see now. Okay, so it's actually two pieces. So this is your grounding point right here. So basically, I move these tabs, I open these tabs up. Let me see if I can do this on camera. And I gotta be careful because I don't want to break these, because if I break them, that's it. There's no going back. Like, there's no replacing this stuff. I'm trying to do this on camera so you guys can see. And I don't want to break the plastic either, because I got to reuse all these components. All right, I'm going to do this off camera, guys. Let me just. Okay, guys. So once you got the tabs all loose, you can just pull out the assembly, or you should be able to. Hold on. Come on, there we go. So this pops off. So you save that. So now it should be just a simple matter to unscrew this bottom truck here. The other wire is already soldered in here, so you don't have to really worry about that. Let me just. So then the truck pops out along with the black wire. So now you're basically, yep. So you're now basically left with a bare chassis. So that's what it looks like with all the components disassembled. I must say it was actually not that bad considering what I had to take apart. It wasn't that bad. So my next operation is now the disassembly of this one. So I got to get this one finished, and we should go from there. The disassembly process for this one is probably going to still be the same as this one. The only difference is I have this contact shoe that I need to worry about, but it should be pretty much the same process as the previous one. I'm not going to show you that part because it's kind of a little redundant. So I'm going to just go ahead and disassemble this one, and I should be ready to go. Okay everyone, I actually did a test fit, and this is the DC rear power truck, or the DC power collector truck on the unit. So now all I have to do is transplant, let me see, transplant this to the one on the X995, and then I'll be set. So I'm going to do that right now. Okay guys, I got the DC tab component installed into the X995, and what I'm going to do now is going to reinstall this into the truck. So I'm going to try to feed this wire through if I can. Okay. So now I'm feeding the wire back through. So it should be pretty straightforward as to doing this next step. So that goes in there like that. And then let me see if I can show this. The DC power collector, the bottom one goes here. Careful not to lose the screw. So I gotta screw that back on. So that's back on. Make sure the screw is tight. So that's the rear truck. So that's the rear truck. And then there's that. So this is the black wire, and then this is the gray wire. Let me show you. So there's your black one, and there's your gray one. So I'm getting there, people. I'm getting there. What should I do next? Next what I'm going to do is I'm going to reinstall the front truck. So basically, I should have done this from the get-go. I wasn't thinking. Alright, so that's because these wires are in the way, so I gotta, there we go. That's the original, this is the LED bulb, or not LED, but that's the new bulb. Alright, so there's that one. And let me turn this upside down. Let me reinstall the other truck. And I'm not going to attach the couplers to it just yet. I need to make sure that it works, because if it doesn't work, then I'm pretty much up the creek without a paddle on this one. And you reinstall your plate right here. There's little slots on the side here where you just pop this in. Might take some jimmying to get it to sit. There we go. And then you reinstall the screw. Like, I'm sweating bullets right now, y'all, because I'm like I feel so silly right now, because I should have just left the motor intact and did not take it apart. So I pray and hope that when I wire this thing up again, it runs, and that there's no binding in the mechanism, because if the mechanism binds, that's not good. So let me get this done. So reinstall the switch here. And make sure you keep all your screws for your appropriate parts around. That way you're able to put them back on when you need to. So I'm putting this one back on here. Okay, I'm going to have to do this from the side. This is when you get a magnetic screwdriver, because they are very handy for stuff like this. Alright, so that's installed. Next is the plate here, which the screw's already in there, but I need to take it out. That'd be a good thing, right? Now keep in mind, if this doesn't run, I'm going to have to rewire and re-solder everything back anyway. So this goes back in here. Okay. So now you're basically looking at the X995 with the DC components of the RC1. So now what I have to do is I have to resolder these wires back to where they're supposed to be resoldered at. So I'm going to remove this pantograph change plate here so I can get better access to it and resolder that, and then I'm going to do a test run, and keep your fingers crossed. Hopefully I put the motor back right, otherwise I'm in trouble. So yeah, basically guys, I don't have what those modelers call like a third hand, so I'm basically using one of those whatchamacallit, clips to do it. And that's not supposed to happen. So that's not good. Alright, and I might as well show you how to do this. So you basically put the soldering flux on where you want the solder to go, and then you have to put the solder on it. So let me get that. So since I don't have a third hand, I'm going to be doing this the Eddie way. I don't recommend doing this, guys, just letting you know. So I got it back on there. It's not, oh no you don't. It's not sticking. You have to make sure that it sticks. There we go. Not the best of jobs, but it works nonetheless. Boy. Wow. So I'm going to let that be right there. And I'm going to reclamp these other things and start soldering on them. So that's the next one I'm going to solder. Okay, guys. Well, that was a surprise. I was not expecting that. Wow. Whoa. Okay, guys, you probably were a little shocked as I was when I first got it back together. Basically, it started moving when I had the track power on. I actually had a little bit of trouble because I thought I did something wrong. So let me show you what I did. Alright. So basically, what I thought I did, let me zoom in on here. Unfortunately, I blew out this capacitor here. So this capacitor is toast. This one is still functional. This doesn't do anything. I thought I had to use this screw here that I installed as a grounding point. Turns out I didn't have to do that, but let me show you what I corrected. Let me use the light here. I'm using the light of my soldering gun to show you. If I can just move it around. Guys probably can't see that, but the top wire here, which is the gray one, just see if I can clear that out the way, which is the gray wire, I resoldered that, but it then became disconnected from the truck, so I had to resolder that. Then when I found out that it would move in the right direction, I basically let me show you from this angle. I basically drilled out 2 holes here, just like in the original one, right there. See those 2 holes there? Well, I did the same thing in the X995, but I used this as the grounding point. So what that means is it's got power. Let me show you. I'm not able to take up all my tools, but I'll show you guys what I'm able to do. And this is really, really, really good. Thank God I was able to do this because I was freaking out. So let's see. So right now the controller is in the forward position and it moves forward. Moves in reverse. I would say that the X995 is officially DC operable now. It still needs some minor tweaks to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reassemble the model and break it in now because it's been disassembled, and I'm going to re-lubricate it and get everything put back together because it's still in a little bit of a mess right now. So give me a minute to do that. Okay, I'm back, everybody, and I just finished installing the X995 components in the former DC Hammond Swedish RC1. Basically, I resoldered. Let me see if I can show this on camera. So let me put the model down and do this right, because I want you guys to see what I'm talking about. Let me put it down here like this. Let me zoom in. So basically, I resoldered the red wire to the top here, which is for the pantograph, and then the black wire went to the bottom, which is right there. I drilled out a hole in the frame. Wait for the camera to focus. Drilled out a hole in the frame for mounting the screw back here, and I even went ahead and installed the lights, which were in the X995 into this model. Now I didn't wire them up because there's no way for me to test this. I don't have any type of Markland DC track to test this on. I might put this unit up for sale. I'm not sure. That's just an idea. But I don't even know if it runs, because I bought it like that. Like, it should run. But if you look here on the board, I think this capacitor is blown. Now when I bought it, it was like that. But I really don't have any way of testing this model. Let me show you what I did underneath. So yeah, I'm probably going to sell this model. If not, I'll keep it. But if anybody wants it, let me know. Try not to lowball me. I paid a couple $100s for this engine. But you know, if I can get it tested, then that'll be even better, because I want to know myself, because I really didn't take anything apart anyway. It was actually easier to take the wires off of this model than it was on the other model. There's like 2 wires that I had to unsolder for, you know, from the trucks and stuff, and then the wires for the lights, that was like half the time I had to do with the other model. But in the next clip, I'm going to show you the now DC X995 running. Alright, and that should conclude this video. Everyone, I think this conversion from AC to DC was successful. I guys hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll have more updates on this model soon. God bless, and see you guys soon. Bye y'all.